If you're over 60, please give your full attention to the next few minutes because what I'm about to share may truly surprise you. Throughout your life, you've made an effort to choose healthier habits, you've cut back on fried foods, limited sugar, and even tried to add more vegetables to your meals every day. But what if I told you some of the vegetables you believe are helping you might actually be quietly harming your heart? Meal after meal. As a cardiologist, I've seen a troubling pattern. Too many older patients come to me feeling confused. They think they're living healthy lives, yet their blood pressure keeps rising. Their energy is fading, and their hearts are taking on silent damage they don't even realize is happening. They don't feel sick, but inside a health crisis is slowly building. In this video, I'll reveal 5 common vegetables that may actually be putting your heart at risk. More importantly, I'll show you which foods to eat instead because you still have the chance to change, improve, and protect your heart. But that only happens if you know what to avoid and take action starting today. Stick with me because the first vegetable I'll mention might be sitting in your fridge right now, and you've probably never thought twice about it. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I strongly encourage you to do that now and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any important health tips designed specifically for your age group. If you find this video helpful, leave a number 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, so I know how to improve the content to serve you better in the future. 1. Celery. A low-calorie snack that might be quietly raising your blood pressure. For years, celery has been seen as a symbol of healthy eating in many American households. With its natural crunch, low calories, and the perception of being heart-friendly when paired with peanut butter or hummus, it's easy to trust. But what if I told you this seemingly innocent vegetable might actually be damaging your heart over time? As a cardiologist, I've seen this far too often, and it deeply concerns me. Many older adults, especially those over 60, come to me confused. They believe they're eating right, yet their blood pressure remains high, their ankles are swollen, and they feel unusually tired. They blame aging. But in reality, the culprit is often the very foods they've trusted the most. Celery, especially the pre-cut packaged kind for convenience, is often treated with sodium-based preservatives to keep it fresh and crisp. Even fresh celery naturally contains more sodium than most people realize, up to 80 milligrams per stalk. For young, healthy individuals, this may not be a big deal. But for older adults whose kidneys don't function as efficiently and whose arteries may have started to stiffen, even small amounts of sodium can have harmful effects. As sodium builds up, the body retains more water. Increasing blood volume. This means your heart has to work harder and each beat becomes more strained. Over time, this pressure stiffens, arteries, increases the risk of heart failure, and accelerates vascular aging. You might not taste the salt or feel anything wrong until more obvious symptoms like persistent fatigue, swelling, or shortness of breath appear. By then, your heart may already be worn out. The problem isn't just celery, it's the trust you place in so-called healthy foods. The things you believe are helping you might actually be working against you quietly. And the older you get, the less room your body has for these kinds of mistakes. What once was a good choice can slowly become a burden. What's scary is how slowly this damage creeps in and how unaware you can be until it's too late. So if celery is a regular part of your diet, take a moment. Read the labels. Think about how often you're eating it. And most importantly, ask your doctor what sodium level is right for you. Because your heart doesn't just need low calories, it needs smart, informed protection. And remember, celery isn't the only vegetable quietly hiding in your diet. There's another one, usually eaten warm and soft, bringing comfort. But it's also soaking up excess oil and salt, quietly weakening your heart day by day. Well, talk about that next. If you're still watching and found this helpful, leave a comment with the number 1 below to let me know you're still with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Eggplant, a seemingly harmless vegetable that acts like a sponge, absorbing everything your heart should avoid. For many older adults, eggplant feels familiar. Soft, easy to eat, often found in stews, casseroles, or traditional American comfort meals. For years, you may have believed that eggplant is a nutritious, heart-healthy choice. But what you might not know is that behind its calm purple skin, eggplant doesn't just soak up flavor, it also absorbs oils, salt, and fats your heart is trying hard to avoid. Eggplant has a porous, spongy texture, just like a kitchen sponge. That means whatever it touches during cooking, frying oil-rich sauces, melted cheese gets drawn deep inside. And let's be honest, very few people eat eggplant steamed or plain. More often, it's served breaded and fried, sautéed in oil, baked with heavy cheese, or smothered in salty sauces. Every bite ends up carrying a hidden load of saturated fat and sodium, 2 major threats to heart health. For those over 60, these hidden ingredients aren't so easy to process anymore. Your body doesn't metabolize like it did in your 20s. Blood vessels lose flexibility. Kidney function declines. That means salt and fat don't just hang around longer. They do more damage. Salt raises blood pressure while fat narrows the arteries. Without realizing it, eggplant becomes a vehicle delivering these harmful substances straight into your bloodstream quietly but dangerously. And that's not all. Eggplant also contains a small amount of solanine, a natural compound that can trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals or when consumed in large amounts. Chronic low-grade inflammation is a known contributor to atherosclerosis, the gradual hardening and narrowing of arteries. For someone with a history of heart disease, that's like adding fuel to a slow-burning fire already inside the body. What makes this so upsetting is you're not choosing poorly on purpose. You're trying to eat right, picking vegetables that seem good for you. But if prepared the wrong way or eaten too often, these supposed allies can become hidden saboteurs with no warning signs, no pain, no obvious symptoms, just a slow, quiet decline until your heart can no longer keep up and the damage shows up in an emergency room. Eggplant isn't a bad vegetable, but it's easy to misunderstand. And when cooked the wrong way, it becomes a silent trap, soaking up the very things your aging heart can no longer handle. And if a soft, gentle vegetable like eggplant can quietly turn against you this way, what about the next one? The one that looks bright, full of life, but can suddenly spike your blood sugar in ways you never expect. You might be eating it every week without knowing the risks. Let's take a closer look at that next. 3. Corn. A nostalgic favorite that might be quietly raising your blood sugar and damaging your heart for many Americans over 60. Corn is more than just food, it's a part of memory. From backyard barbecues to Sunday dinners, from hearty chowders to baked casseroles, corn has been woven into American cuisine as a warm, comforting symbol of tradition. But behind its golden glow and gentle sweetness lies a hidden risk, especially as aging makes your body more vulnerable. The truth is, corn isn't the heart-healthy vegetable we often assume it is. In fact, it behaves more like a refined starch high in natural sugars and carbohydrates, rather than a rich source of fiber or essential nutrients. For older adults especially, those facing insulin resistance, diabetes, or prediabetes, corn can quickly spike blood sugar levels after a single meal. When blood sugar rises, the body releases insulin to manage it. But when this cycle repeats over time, it triggers chronic inflammation in the blood vessels, damaging the endothelium, the protective inner lining of your arteries. Over time, this leads to atherosclerosis, the gradual buildup of plaque in artery walls, narrowing the crucial pathways your heart relies on for oxygen and blood flow. I've seen this countless times in patients who thought they were making safe choices by avoiding sweets and sodas, but unknowingly ate corn every day, not realizing the slow damage it was causing. And it's not just fresh corn. Canned corn, buttered frozen corn. Creamed corn, they often contain added sugars and sodium, two hidden dangers for an aging cardiovascular system. The result: a triple threat to your heart, elevated blood pressure, worsened insulin resistance, and inflamed arteries, all disguised within a food that feels familiar and comforting. The biggest problem: you don't feel this damage as it's happening. You won't notice a narrowing artery. You won't realize your blood sugar is spiking until fatigue, dizziness, or shortness of breath appear. And by then, the damage may have already been quietly building for years. Corn isn't your enemy, but it's not the innocent food we grew up loving either. As you age, your heart gets weaker, and your body's ability to handle sugar, salt, and fat declines. Eating corn too often or in large amounts can quietly work against you. So, if corn shows up on your plate every day, ask yourself, is it helping your health, or is it making your heart work harder? And if something as sweet, simple, and common as corn can silently harm your heart, imagine what might happen if you unknowingly combine the wrong vegetable with your heart medication. It might seem healthy, raw, fresh, loaded with antioxidants, but it could be lowering your blood pressure too much or triggering a harmful reaction inside your body. Well, explore that next. If you're still with me and find this information helpful, leave a comment with the number 1 below to let me know you're following along. Now let's move on to vegetable number 4. 4. Raw onion. A healthy side that might be quietly weakening your heart for years. Raw onion has been praised as a superfood rich in antioxidants, cancer-fighting compounds, and heart-friendly flavonoids. Many older adults have added raw onions to salad sandwiches and daily meals, believing they're taking smart steps to care for their heart. But what if that well-meaning habit is actually doing more harm than good? What if that small familiar onion is slowly pushing your blood pressure too low day by day? The truth is, raw onions contain organosulfur compounds, natural sulfur-based molecules known to lower blood pressure. That might sound like a good thing until you realize that most people over 60 are already taking medications for high blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, or other heart conditions. Adding raw onion to your meals might not just enhance the effects of those meds, it could push them beyond safe limits, leading to sudden blood pressure drops. That can cause dizziness, muscle weakness, even fainting, and in more serious cases, it may trigger abnormal heart rhythms or reduce blood flow to vital organs like the brain. What's more concerning is that common heart medications like ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, or blood thinners already change how your heart and vessels respond. Raw onions can unknowingly amplify or interfere with those effects in unpredictable ways. I've seen patients who felt lightheaded every morning and blamed it on aging. But in truth, their bodies were reacting to a powerful combination of medication and raw onions, a mix that dropped their blood pressure too fast. The result: a dangerous fall, a sudden stroke, or worse. What makes this situation so unfortunate is that raw onions can be good for your heart if used wisely. Cooking them softens their active properties, lowering the risk. But eating them raw and often without understanding how they interact with medications and aging blood vessels turns this seemingly harmless vegetable into a hidden threat in your kitchen. The takeaway here isn't fear, it's awareness. Your 70-year-old body doesn't process foods like it did at 40. What was once harmless or even helpful can now disrupt your cardiovascular system or interfere with your medications. You deserve to know the truth so you can make choices that truly protect you, not unknowingly put you at risk. And if raw onions, a food that seems so fresh and beneficial, can have this kind of impact on your heart, Just imagine what might happen if you eat something that looks even greener, but is actually a breeding ground for bacteria your aging immune system can no longer fight off. The answer may surprise you, and it could be hiding right in your everyday salad bowl. Let's explore that next. 5 raw sprouts. A crispy bite that may be quietly wrecking your heart. It's easy to see why sprouts, whether from alfalfa mung beans or radish, are so popular. They look light, fresh, full of life, and they often show up in salads, sandwiches, or as a topping at health-focused cafes. For adults over 60 trying to eat clean and stay mindful, sprouts seem like the perfect choice. But beneath their crisp, refreshing appeal lies a serious and often overlooked danger, especially for aging hearts. The truth is, raw sprouts are a prime breeding ground for harmful bacteria like E. coli, listeria, and salmonella. These pathogens thrive in the warm, moist environment where sprouts are grown. And unlike many vegetables that are cooked, sprouts are usually eaten raw, giving bacteria a direct path into your body with no heat to stop them. Younger people may bounce back from mild food poisoning, but for older adults whose immune systems have weakened over time, the risk is far greater. Your body no longer fights infections as easily as it once did. What might be a minor illness for someone else can rapidly escalate into widespread inflammation, sepsis, or even death. So how does this connect to heart health? In more ways than you might think. When your body fights infection, the resulting inflammation, high fever, and potential sepsis place immense strain on your cardiovascular system. Even more concerning is the possibility of developing endocarditis, a dangerous infection of the inner lining of the heart. For someone with existing heart conditions, this can be life-threatening. I've treated patients in their 70s and 80s who ended up in the ER with confusion fever and irregular heartbeats, not because of worsening heart disease, but because of a few raw sprouts in the sandwich they ate at lunch. There was no bad smell, no warning sign, just a seemingly innocent ingredient enough to land them in the hospital or worse. While food safety standards do exist, outbreaks linked to raw sprouts still happen regularly in the US, and older adults are often the ones most affected. You've spent a lifetime building your health, so don't let it be put at risk by a handful of uncooked greens. If you're craving something crunchy and refreshing, there are safer options. But raw sprouts simply don't belong in the diet of anyone over 60, especially those living with heart disease. Which brings us to a bigger question. One you might already be asking: if so many vegetables carry hidden risks, what is truly safe? What foods actually support your aging heart, nourish your body, and won't interfere with the medications you depend on? The answer may surprise you, not only because they're heart-friendly, but because they taste better than you'd expect. Let's discover them next. 6. What to eat instead. Vegetables that truly support and restore your aging heart. After learning that some familiar vegetables, even ones praised for years, may quietly harm your heart, the most natural question becomes, so what can I safely eat? As a cardiologist, I want to reassure you, you don't need to fear food. But after age 60, you do need to choose more carefully because your heart no longer reacts the way it used to. At this stage, your heart's needs are more sensitive and specific. The wrong foods can trigger inflammation, interfere with medications, or place extra strain on already fragile blood vessels. But here's the good news. When chosen wisely, the right foods can not only support your heart, but even help it recover naturally. Look for vegetables that are gentle, easy to digest, rich in nutrients, and truly heart-friendly. For example, steamed carrots and sweet potatoes, naturally sweet, high in potassium, and great for stabilizing blood pressure. Vamos, lightly sauteed kale or collard greens, packed with fiber and antioxidants without overwhelming the digestive system like raw greens often can. Roasted beets, a powerful friend to your circulation supporting healthy blood flow. Legumes like lentils and green beans. Low in sodium, high in heart-nourishing nutrients. What do these foods have in common? They don't spike blood sugar, they don't clash with your medications, and they're not hiding dangerous bacteria. Instead, they quietly nourish your blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and give your heart the steady, consistent support it needs during this more vulnerable stage of life. Remember, every meal is a decision to either protect your heart or put it at risk. You don't need to chase trendy diets or expensive superfoods. What truly matters is consistency, balance, and knowing how your body changes as you age, so you can choose what's safest and most effective for you. But knowing what to eat is only half the picture. Because no matter how healthy your plate is, it won't matter much if you're still holding on to a hidden habit that quietly undoes all your efforts. A habit most older adults don't even realize they're doing. And that's exactly what we'll uncover next. One final truth. The message your heart has been waiting to hear. If you're still here, if you followed along this far, it means you truly care. Not just about your health today, but about your future, your quality of life, and every heartbeat you have left. And that matters deeply, because your heart, the most hardworking organ in your body, has given you everything. For over 60 years, it's powered through more than 2 billion beats, asking for nothing in return. But now, it's asking for just one thing: your attention. The vegetables you once trusted, celery, eggplant, corn, raw onion, raw sprouts, may have served you well in your younger years. But your body today is no longer the body you had at 40. It's wiser, more experienced, but also more vulnerable. And that means every bite you take carries more weight, more risk, yes, but also more opportunity. An opportunity to protect or to unknowingly harm. Some of these foods look perfectly healthy, even carry labels like Heart Smart. But if eaten the wrong way or combined poorly with certain medications, they can become silent threats. No symptoms, no clear warnings, just quiet damage until it's too late. But if you're reading these words, you still have time to adjust, time to make better choices. Time to heal, not through perfection, but through consistency, one meal at a time. Your very next meal can be your fresh start. Your next heartbeat can be the beginning of real change. Don't wait for a heart attack or a stroke to send the message. Act now. Choose to protect, because even though your heart is aging, it still has so much life and strength left to give if you treat it the way it deserves. Everything I've shared here isn't just information, it's an invitation to live more intentionally, more fully, more honestly. And now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you learned from this video? What's one change you plan to make? Let's build a community of awareness, action, and heart health together. If you found this video helpful, leave a 1 in the comments below. If not, feel free to type 0. Your feedback always matters to us. And if you'd like to keep receiving practical, life-changing content like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. And may you live a life that truly honors what matters most to you.